This is Dabu7, an earthquake update. And looking here globally, last time I talked about how Chile, this area, has been quiet for a long time. It looks like they finally have witnessed a 5.3 quake. I don't see any aftershocks down there at this point. But as I've said before, when you have areas that are known for swarming and building up pressure, it's good to see decent quakes that don't do a lot of damage every so often because you know it's relieving that pressure. When places like this go silent for a long time, they're prone to popping off with the 6.6 or greater earthquake. We've seen this before. And in Chile, Peru, in this area, there's been big quakes hit in this area, swarm and swarm and swarm for some time. Now, in association with that, we've seen quakes pop off up here in this region, all the way up to Guatemala, Panama, even up into Mexico along this line, even working their way down into Colombia and these northern regions. Now, here recently, we had witnessed a big quake right off the coast. It's big in terms of the size that we normally see up here. As you can see, magnitude 2s to 3s. This was a 5.3 or so that happened up here. And I pay attention to those types of quakes because it's rare that they hit in that area. When they do, it starts to show a shift in this region. And then often associated with that, after some time, you'll start to see the ridge lines start to pop off too. All the way from the serpent heads down here, up the ridge line to the North Atlantic Ocean. That ridge line starts to see activity all the way up into Iceland here. Now, right now it's quiet, but what we are seeing here in the United States is an uptick in quake activity around Yellowstone. You can see West Yellowstone here in Montana and this area here just to the northwest. Now, granted, this is not right on the dome of the volcano, which is good, but this is still connected. You can see, and I've talked about this before, the massive lava pit that sits under here and extends down into the earth in this area. And the connection between some of these hot spots and these underground magma chambers. Yellowstone is a lot bigger than just the caldera that sits right here. Underground, this massive lava pit is very large. And there's different faults and other chambers that we've talked about in the past that come down and tie into this system. So when you start to see bigger quakes up in this area, it's just something to kind of keep an eye on, pay attention to. If I start to see any other fluctuations or quakes making their way toward Yellowstone, I'll update with information there. We've seen a 3.5 here in Southern California or Central California within the past hour and a half. And within the past week, we have seen an uptick in small quakes around the New Madrid area. Really, Tennessee has seen a lot, even in this exact same spot. From here to over here, back and forth, from the Appalachian Belt to right over here near New Madrid, around the Memphis area. Now, when you look in here, the New Madrid is a very unique spot because it's what I call a land island, if this will load right, situated down here where all these states meet. What I mean by that is this is the river. That's water going down. And this is the state line. And this is Kentucky. This, Tennessee. This is Kentucky. This here is Illinois. It's one of the weirdest spots I've ever seen in terms of land. It's a part of Kentucky that physically is not touching Kentucky. It's what I call the keyhole of the New Madrid. And if you zoom in here and you pick up a name in this area, there it is. It's what this whole region is named after, this city that sits in this very peculiar spot, which is long overdue for a big eruption, or a big release of energy, should I say. What's interesting also is the last big quake that we've seen on the East Coast emanated from, guess where? Virginia, right outside of D.C., in proximity. Here we have another small quake that has popped up in this exact area. So it's showing that there's something going on. Although it's not massive, there is movement. This could be telling of future movement. And let's not forget, right now there is a massive low pressure system that is moving across this area. I do believe that some of the pressure from these weather systems, even hurricanes, has an effect because we've seen it in the past. Maybe not tremendous effect, but it does show sometimes these quakes popping up in areas where these storm systems are hovering over all that pressure. Nonetheless, that's a look at some of the quake activity, recent quake activity here globally. You see the Ring of Fire active as usual, but we haven't seen any massive quakes. No massive quakes in some time, so you got to be prepared for an event like that, especially if you're in an earthquake-prone region. Like I always say, have a plan, and I will continue to update with more information on quakes as things change. I'll leave a link below. It's been Dabu7 with an earthquake update.